Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps, Daily Teachings, Lotto Friday Special. Hope everybody is having a great weekend. All right, guys. Today we'll recap all the trades and try to learn from my Lotto Friday Special. As always, I will continue to post on X. Try to wrap it up in 20-22 minutes so that you can learn. There, I have a full Lotto options playlist that you can watch on YouTube. But since my YouTube is down, we're trying to, before we get it up, we're trying to fix some things. But this playlist will also go into the lot options playlist. Anyways, before we start the recap of our amazing day, let's do a quick introduction to anybody who's new to our X accounts or coming from YouTube or new to our community. All these trade recaps, all these teachings, anything we talk about is from any trade ideas, any setups that I share on X or mostly in our community. So we trade repeatable setup, repeatable system. We trade repeatable system called Ripster EMA Cloud system that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently in the markets. We trade repeatable setups like I teach you every day on X. We do not trade random. You can go to ripstereducation.com. You can see I've been teaching this system for many years for free and helping the traders change their lives. So anyways, we trade this in our private community. Every setup we trade is based upon a system, is repeatable. We make a plan in the pre-market, a pre-market plan. I'm live on the voice on the screen share half an hour before the market open. We make this plan. Everything I teach, we also have in our community. There are over 20-30 webinars with PowerPoints and examples and real-time trade examples, and that's what we execute. Okay, so we are not just gambling in the market. So anyways, so this was a plan for Friday. You can see there's a bunch of news plays. There was index stocks. There were upgrades, downgrades, and Adobe RH our top plays. So this watch list I usually share once a week with my X followers. So hopefully you guys nailed some of these plays from our watch list. So this was our game plan. What support level, resistance level, initial buys, and then what we do is we also have our day 2, day 3 repeatable setup. This is the strategy. I did a free webinar on X as well. How to trade this strategy, I teach you every day. I show you examples every day, and we trade it live in the community. Whatever I teach, we execute it live. We execute it live in the community. In addition to that, we also have the levels provided for the indexes, Max 7, so you can trade those with the EMA Cloud system. These are also provided to the traders in the pre-market. We trade futures. Futures planning is also done in the pre-market. We trade crypto stocks. We trade low floors. Everything is provided in the pre-market planning, so we are ready for the day. Our community is one of the largest trading community online. Thousands of traders are on our trading floor every day, and we have a lot of free tools for anybody who wants to join our trading community. We have 3-4 option flow scanner, stock scanner, breaking news sound alerts, breaking news audio alerts, order flow. So we have everything, and I'm on voice first few hours of the market open, and I'm on live shares, live screen as well, guiding the traders. We're not a signal alert service, guiding the traders through the trade setups for the day, making sure everyone is making right decisions. All right, so that being said, I'm going to start the introduction. I'll show you my time. We will cover a few of the the trades from today. We usually cover losers, winners. We cover everything, but I'm going to try to keep it under 22 minutes. And as you see, amazing day in the community. By the end of the only 14% people were added in the community, which is really good, because recently we have a lot of new traders, and I make sure I give my heart and soul for my community, just like I have helped thousands of traders on Twitter, X, on my free websites, on YouTube. Similarly, in community, we make sure that everybody is working towards the success and not just blindly chasing money. All right, that was a quick introduction. Let's start the trade recaps. All right, let's start with SPY QQQ on Friday. So we know the war started, Israel attacking Iran, market gapping up. So the plan was simple. SPY no long under 599, QQQ 528. VIX holds 20 bearish bias to short the market. If VIX pushes, if breaks down under 20, we will long it. So that was the plan. So let's see what market was doing at the open. And if you see that right at the open, market made a bullish move. What was that bullish move? That bullish move was an amateur candle, this amateur candle. And there was a bullish move on this amateur candle, and that was the long curls right out of the gate. And SPY pushed from 598 towards 600. QQQ pushed from 528 to 530. So this was the amateur move. And you can trade that amateur move, but you have to pretty fast, like I show you every day. Why was that? Because initially VIX flushed under 20. But then came the problem, right? As soon as VIX started to bounce over 20, I told the traders to close, and it's also, I told the traders to close it under the 512s, close the longs, right? You close the longs, you short it. And then I gave the 512 shorts on SPY because VIX was pushing over 20. If you look carefully, VIX was pushing over 20 and it pushed to 21. So you could short that move. It might not look a big move, but it was a decent move from 598 to 596, 528 to 526, couple dollars move that you could trade on the short side. But then again, VIX hit 21, and 21 is also a resistance. Then I told the trader, close shorts. You see that, right? How we're doing it. It's a long curls, close longs, close shorts, long curls, close longs, close shorts. So you see that there were 3 pivot levels, and it's fine. It was ran by the VIX level of 20, then VIX level of 21. Remember what I said in the pre-market planning: VIX breaks 20, you will be long it. So that was your long setup right here, this one, right? So then we came our long setup, and then I told the traders, watch 20 closely. We were flagging, we got a flag push, and and then the target I gave was MTF, and we even got more than that target, right? So you can see that I said we are going for full gap fill. We did not really get full gap fill. That's why we exited when this broke right here, 512s break, we are out. And after that, you could short it again versus MTF. You can take another trade downside, but we were out from the longs when we break the 512. You can see here, right? So you see that, right? We have we change with, we don't have a fixed bias. We change our bias with the market. We were long, like I said. I'm showing you right timestamp guidance, short, long calls, and then we exit, right? So everything with the plan. That's how this market was today, managing, because there was so much news going around. We had to depend on a system how to trade it. Especially if you are day trading, you cannot hold your longs if the system is breaking down. You cannot hold your shorts if system is squeezing out. That's how the traders in the community were doing so good. And since we don't have that bias that we move with the system, that's how we are consistently able to make good trades in the market. So that's how you can change with the market. And this is the reason, like today, even in this such a crazy up environment, traders in our community were doing just amazing. We had 15% red, and as we will cover our trades, you will see that somebody was short on CVNA, somebody was short on RH, Oracle, long on Oracle, short on Adobe, somebody shorted. You can see that how the education and the repeatable setups that I teach, you can see traders are green, and first hour, 1 hour of the day, most of the traders are done, and because of the following the system. Right, all you see that, there are thousands of traders in the community, so I usually like to see how my traders are doing. If somebody is red, we work with them. I try to make sure why are they weak, because the experience that I have in the market, and those of guys who have followed me from a long time, seeing my winners and losers, I can really help traders not go through the same and shorten their learning cycle. Yeah, so anyways, you can see that amazing morning. So this was SPY QQQ, but just wanted to show you that how community was doing good. Traders increasing their accounts on Lotto Friday options. We'll talk about Lotto Friday options. I have discussed Lotto Friday risk management many times. So hopefully if you're new to follower to me, you go those, find those shorts, find those videos, and you watch them. So then you will learn a lot. There's on YouTube as well. They're on X as well. All right, let's go to the next play. All right, so let's start with RH. Let's start with Restoration Hardware. I gave you this game plan in the I gave this game plan. I tweeted it as well. So anyways, I tweeted this game plan. If you see that carefully, the plan on Restoration Hardware here, if you don't see that, let me show you on the so Restoration Hardware, gap and crap under 206, long over it, breakout over 214. Carefully look at the pre-market plan, and let's see here what happened here. And so Restoration Hardware, so as soon as the market opened, it held that 206 level. right? So it held that 206 level. That's when I told the traders long it. Breakout is over 214. I said that at 9:34, and by the first 10-15 minutes, I gave the target 220. We hit our 220 target. And as soon as I hit it, I told the traders to sell 30% of your position, but then it pulled back. It did not hold the 5-12 clouds. I told the traders to have their stops break even, and when it was not holding right, it broke down right here at after 950. We were out. We were out of the longs, right? And then I told the traders, I waited for a minute to short it. Short it, gap and crap, 208, 206 breaks, go lower, stops at 213. Again, I mentioned stops at 210. Once it start to move down, target 200. So I'm already giving a target 200 when we are breaking down at 209. And look at the $10 move, and we hit that target in within next 2-3 candles, and the next target I gave was 207.50, and then we hit that as well. Oh, sorry, 109, 197.50. I missed that 9 there. So hit that 197.50. No need to cover. Still hold. Gave the 198.43 stops. We just continuously move the stops down, 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 and then we hit our MTF. Then we flushed through the MTF as well, and we finally hit closer to the lower MTF. It was a home run trade, guys. Home run trade. Everything we plan in the pre-market restoration, and I've shown you thousands of these trades. You have seen my previous trades as well. How we trade this A plus setups, and so that was a trade on restoration hardware. So let's look here. So you can see that once that 206 level broke down that I mentioned in the pre-market, down it goes, right? Down it goes, 206 level. So now let's see why it's so important to be fast on the Lotto options. Every Lotto option you trade is 100% risk. So when I gave the restoration hardware long, if you take a look at Lotto of 220s, it ran from $3 to $7, right? 100% trade. So that was a 100% long trade, and many trades did do that. They were long on restoration hardware before they were short on that. Right, so many traders were long, and before they were the short on that. And if you want to look at, let me show you here. If you want to look at, so this is the restoration hardware 200 puts, right? You can see that once we were breaking the 512s, these 200 puts were at like $1, $2, right? And it ran to $10. 1000% move. You don't even need that. Even if you take half of it, that's it. But the point is you have to risk 100%. If you're risking 100%, you're trying to get 200, 300, 400%. And that was kind of trade the restoration hardware was. And if you're trading 200 puts, let's say once they go to $6, you take some out, you buy the further Lottos. You can buy 195 Lottos, which again ran from $2 to $7 middle of the day. So you roll it. You already made 4 or 5 grand in RH. You throw $1,000 in further 195 Lotto, and that goes 3 times more, and even that $1,000 makes you $3,000. We started with risking 100%, remember. So that's how you make exponential profit, but you have to respect the system. This is what I call in the community, I make sure my traders are holding all the way. And mostly traders are improving, they're holding all the way for the big winners. If they don't hold it, we call them pikers, just to encourage them, to have them accountable to hold their winners. So there's no reason to cut it. And you don't really need to trade options. You can trade shares, you can trade next week options, whatever you want to do, you can do that. But that's how you do it. So anyways, that was RH. Everything timestamped, no BS, no hindsight, long guidance with the time, short guidance with the time, pre-market planning on the spot with the clean levels. Beautiful trade. Let's go to the next one. All right, so next one we're going to cover is Adobe. So what was the plan on Adobe? Remember, both Adobe and Restoration Hardware were my top plays. I had them as a red, highlighted them as a red focus plays, right? So Adobe was simple, 400 psychological level. I have spent years teaching everybody about 400 psychological level, how important that level is. Bearish bias to short the pops as long as under 400. Simple concept. And if you were not ready in the morning, then it was a good trade for you if you were ready. So let's see here. So this is your restoration hardware. Let's look at, sorry, this is Adobe. Let's look at my pre-market planning, and let's see what we were doing here. So as soon as the market opened, I told the traders, we can go to the 3 minutes and see. I told the traders to short it. You see, short versus 400 right here. I told the traders to short under 400. It was at 394, 395. And as it started to flush, we moved the stops to 397, 396. I gave the target of 385. We hit our 385 target and it even got a little bit more. So you see that since I told the traders to short, we got almost $10, right? So what did the options do? So let's look at the options. So let's check out how the Adobe options do. You don't really have to go far, but Lotto Friday, you need to understand options risk. If you are new to options, this video will not explain to you all that. You have to go watch my other videos, or you have to spend some time learning how those options work. So let's see here, right? So when Adobe was dumping those 395 lottos, they went from $2, $3, $4 all the way to $11. So there was an opportunity to make that money in the first 10 minutes. Look at the first candle, right? Went from 2 to 9. The second candle hit 11. Third candle hit 1160. So even if you bought a $200 worth, you could make, at least you could make $600-700. If you know 1,000, at least you could make a couple $1,000 there. So was it a home run? Not really, because it started to hold a level, and that's fine. You need to make a judgment call. Once it started to hold 11, it was a bear flag at 384. It started to push. I told the traders it's going to push towards 512. You can make a judgment call, exit everything here. It has to go soon enough. But the market was also bouncing a little bit, so it bounced with it. But we did exit here when it pushed over the 512s. And that's the day of the choppy. And this will happen, right? Even if you shorted here, you respected 512s, or you short a rejection, you rehit it. You see there was a rejection, but it bounced right back from there. So it bounced right back from there, and because it held this level, so you have to make a judgment call to get out, and there's no short again on Adobe. And this will happen sometimes, but you have to remember this, right? We will be watching it on day 2 on Monday, see what it does. All right, so let's look at Oracle day 2 setup. So what was happening with Oracle? So Oracle was a pretty good setup in the pre-market. I discussed it on Thursday's video. If you watched it, I told you that, if you look at Oracle. So on Thursday's recap, we talked about it, that it can retest and then it can push. So what were we doing on Oracle today? So Oracle was on a number 1 day-to-day 3 list, right? Every day I make a day-to-day 3 list. I put the top focus on the number 1. My traders know that. They're already trading Oracle. You see, I was so busy with the RH and Adobe, but if you see what the traders in the community were doing with Oracle, they were already long, right? So if I show you that, everybody was already trading long. Everybody was calling out the long. VJ D trades were on top of it. Deborah, Eddie, everyone was already long because everybody knows the system. They know that day 2, day 3, and I was on the voice in the pre-market as well. I told them to focus on this one. You see the pre-market high breakout. You see the high of the previous day breakout. The same earning concept that I teach again and again and again and again. Day 2's simple setup. Thousands of times I've told that. But anyways, when I saw the flag break at 10 a.m., you see that that's when I told the traders that your targets are 208 and 2010, and your final target is 215. And we met all of those targets, right? Flag break, pullback, flag break. We met all of those targets. So that's why Oracle was such a good trade for the traders in the community. I mean, the literally some calls went 1,000%. You don't really need to trade those 1,000 calls. The key here is you need to be part of the move, some part of it, when you get such A+ setup. So I've been talking about how the Oracle has been A+ setup. If you just be patient, you start with, even if you start small, right? Let's say you start pretty small. Let's look at 205 calls, right? So if you wanna start pretty small with 205 calls, let's see what they were doing. So the 205 calls were barely trading at $1. You try at 170, $1. It goes to $4. You $1,000, 4,000. You sell some, you keep 1,000. Even those 1,000 will turn into 3,000-4,000. They went to $10, 1,000% trade, right? 205 calls, and that's why it was a successful trade for everyone in the community, because I told them the targets and to hold the Ripster clouds. Do not sell. Hold the clouds. Do not sell. So that's why when you see that, when I showed you how the traders today had an amazing day and how the traders were killing it because of these high probability setups. We nailed it Thursday, we nailed it Friday, and it's actually bigger move today than it was on Thursday, and it paid bigger to the traders today than it did on Friday. On Thursday. right? So this is the power. This is the power of the setup, of the day to setup. There was another day to setup, just like Oracle. We had Circle, right? I didn't really focus on it. I had it on the plan in the pre-market. So Circle was another. There you go, 109, 106.50, 109.87. We have talked often about these IPOs, how strong they are, how crazy they can run. Circle was another from a breakout of the 1 hour MTF clouds. That's why traders were long Circle in the community. These opportunities, you just need to be on top of those opportunities. Cole was on top of this Circle all day long, guiding the traders, everybody, so they were on Circle. Even the Circle options, although they are not weeklies, they were not bad. You could literally trade any of those options. And even if you do 100% risk, that's fine, right? If you're trading, let's say you were trading 115 calls for 20th June, right? So those went from $5. Once you see this curl, those went from $5 to $22, 400%. You see that, right? You see that the curl, this is the long, and you see the level I gave in the pre-market from the watch list, 146.50 on the 190, 109.87. So once that level was pushed and held 110, and that was a long. There was a long here. There was a long here. It was a long over yesterday highs, and it was just amazing trade there on Circle. So those are the opportunities you need to find on Lotto Friday options, A+ setups. All right, so let's look at some more plays in the community today. We have a lot of plays. We have Boeing. Let's look at some short setups. So Boeing was again our on watch list. It had news yesterday, so it was also a day to bearish bias to short under 202, 200 key. So I gave this plan in the pre-market, bearish bias under 202 and 200 key. So if you look at Boeing, you will see that as soon as Boeing breaks that 200, you take it short, right? So that's what I told the traders, short versus 200, and the target was pre-market lows. And if an RGB was talking about the hourly chart support breakdown and 200 psychological level down. And then finally the Boeing hit, the target I gave on the Boeing was 197.50 and this yesterday lows. You see that? Let's see here. So yeah, so yesterday's pre-market low. So you see that I gave that target early, even when it was trading at 197. I gave the target of yesterday's pre-market lows. We hit that really nice fade. You could really make $5 profit there, and then we closed it. You see this BA curls, shorts closed. This is where I alerted the curls, BA curls, shorts closed, and from there it ran from 198, 200, 200. There was another opportunity to make a lot of option trade, or even if this trading shares, not a big problem. But you can see that easy setup, short versus 200, long versus 512 curls, stops in the candle, repeatable setups, nothing crazy. You just have to be ready for these setups and execute, and that's why this was in our game plan. Big news yesterday. Today it made the move. So similarly, another one that was making the move today was on Friday was Apple, right? So what was Apple? So let's go back to Apple and see what was going on Apple. Apple, long over 200, short under it. Watch the markets, right? So company delayed the upgrade to Siri, Apple iPhones. There's a news. Doesn't really matter. You look to the news, then you plan the trade, right? So it couldn't push over 200. It was a short. I told everybody on the voice in the morning that it's a short. It's not a long. It's a short. I even if you see my tweet, I also told about that it's a relative weakness. While the rest of the market was trying to bounce, Apple was still weak. So why was that? It's called a relative weakness. It is called a relative weakness. It's called a relative weakness, and that was it. And also the ghost flow, the ghost board, the option flow came in and alerted the unusual flow. So when the flow is bearish, there's an MTF breakdown, and we already planned in the pre-market the short. And it's a easy short, no long, right? I gave the stops of 199. I gave the targets of 196.50. And Apple puts also really ran pretty good. Even if you risked 100% on some of those puts, let's take a look. How did they move? So let's look at these Apple puts. You see, here you go. So you see that these puts, 2025 ports, they ran from the morning short from $3 to $6, 100% trade there, right? Easily you can take that trade, but you need to know your risk reward. because you can't go crazy sizing and it pops a little and you get panic and you sell and you're losing 50% and you don't put your full portfolio in the lot of options. Go back, study my risk management webinar, understand how you trade the risk management lot of options. But anyways, this was another one. Great opportunities in the market today. Apple. Then I also was Nvidia was a midday shorts that I guided the traders. This breakdown of the MTF rejections flush, that was a nice short. There was a decent lot of trades today. There was an IPO voyage that worked from day too long versus 50, and so that was a good one. Voyage was a day two setup. So just insane amount of opportunities. You just have to be you just have to be ready for that. I also mentioned the Urgent, which was on our game plan, breakout 1150. Once it broke out of 1150, it ran to 14 bucks. It ran to 14 bucks. Look here, right? Urgent bullish bias, no longer 3450, but once it pushed that breakout level, need to see breakout. So that was it, guys. Amazing Friday. Mostly decent Friday for us. Didn't really have any big loser trade. Most of the traders came back and most of the trades were good for us. So overall, a solid day. Hopefully you guys can learn and apply these teachings and these setups next week, and probably next lot of Friday you kill it. Thank you. Take care so much. Bye bye.